would like to clarify some things that occurred to me personally.
Like to talk about things personally? Jubilee! See, yeah. The hard styles up your butt. What's that hard styles? Word up!
You think you were going nowhere?
You think you're going nowhere? You don't even know what they're saying, Truman. That's not melodic. That's hard style. That song ain't melodic. That's hard style. What I'll do when I retire. I will make me some trance music. Ain't that right, Truman? So, this morning, I had some fun ones, but I mean, I have experiences like this all the time, and I just can't keep up with them. Because they're just too long, man. But, I could talk about one I had a couple days ago. I was in my house, but it was a totally different house in the scenario. Strange house, but it was my house in the scenario. And it was a lot bigger. And anyway, so I was just walking around, and I had a pet white goat walking around. It was so cute. So I had a pet white goat walking around, and I did just take some videos of some goats before this experience. You know, at the neighbors up the street, he has like 15 or 16 goats. So of course I had goats on the brain, and so Joe put the goats in the scenario, and also I had the skunks on the brain, because one of them got hit in the road before this experience. So anyway, so this was really cool too. There was a pair of two black, these were kind of more blackish than whitish. But these were like black with the white stripe instead of white with the black stripe. But anyway, so these two blackish skunks, they were younger skunks. They were inseparable. They were running around my house, and it's like they were my pets. And the white goat was like totally awesome. It was a boy. He was my pet. But the pair of skunks, they were kind of standoffish to me for whatever reason. But they loved each other. And so I had these two pet skunks, plus a white goat, like running around the house. And, well, it was kind of more cream colored. And then all of a sudden, my brother starts walking around the house with me. And then, like, this went on for a long time, just walking around my house. You know, like observing my animals, observing the two skunks and the goat. And then, like, all of a sudden, yeah, and like I said, and then all of a sudden my brother was walking around with me in my house, and then all of a sudden I walked way into like another bedroom, like a third or fourth bedroom that I had over on the right side of the house. And I walked in there, and all of a sudden there was, in the corner, a mama possum in a cage with about, there was a lot of babies, 12 or 13 babies. And I knew my brother had brought me that possum and the babies. And I was just kind of like, man, I don't know if I could take care of all these animals. But the skunks were kind of already mine, and the goat was already mine. But yeah, so that was kind of a fun experience. And then funny thing is, there's another part where I walked outside of the house, kind of into like I walked outdoors, which was kind of enclosed. It was outdoors, but it was kind of enclosed with a fence. Kind of like I used to have that patio in Kansas City, and it was outdoors, but it still had like a privacy fence around it. So I walked out there, and it's kind of funny that the little goat was like all snuggled up with the two skunks, and it looked like he was sleeping. My pet goat, and he was just like all snuggled up with the two little skunks. But it was just so cool. I mean, the skunks were like so cool, just like running around, and like I say, they were totally inseparable. That was really cool experience. And then, but this morning, it was kind of like two-part experience. Um, so, 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 so this morning, it started off, me and my mom were at the grocery store. That, you know, we kind of went back in time. It was the grocery store, the consumers. Joel's always giving me experiences at consumers up there. And it changed many different things. It was like Hobby Lobby, now it's something else. But when it was consumers, it was a pretty big store, and man, we went there all the time when I was little. Like all the time. It was fun. I used to steal Cherry's Hall's cough drops because I ate them like candy. I stole them on 3 or 4 different occasions. I never got caught or anything. But like one time they started selling 3-packs. And it was over there where the shampoo was and everything. And I stole the whole 3-pack. Because my mom, she wouldn't let me buy the Hall's cough drops and eat them like candy because they weren't candy. So I would steal them. But that's all I ever bought. That's all I ever wanted to buy was candy, candy, candy. And I was like 10 years old. But anyway, so that consumers, like me and my mom, we're in consumers. And we were walking around shopping. And we went over there to the back right of the store. And there was, it's like it was like the deli section. And there was this black guy, and I was talking to him. He looked about 30. And I was talking to him, and he was like, oh, I've been working here. I was asking him questions and stuff, and he's like, oh, I've been working here 13 years. And I was just like, wow, this store must pay pretty good. And I remember back in the day, that store paid pretty good. And we had a friend that was a butcher there and everything. So, yeah, I think grocery stores pay pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, he's like, I've been working here 13 years. And I was thinking in my head, like, wow, this must be a good store to work at and everything, you know, for him to be there that long. And then he's like, oh, well, I got to close up now. And then boom, it got really dark. It got really dark in that section, in that little deli section of the grocery store. But it was a lot longer than that. You know, where me and mom were like walking around shopping, blah, 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 blah. But then all of a sudden, there was a second scene where it was me, my mom, my sister, and there was like 1 to 2 other people. And this experience was this morning, but it was fun. And it's like we were sitting there. It's almost kind of like an IHOP. And even in the experience, I was thinking, I mean, Joel didn't tell me for sure that it was an IHOP, but that's what I felt like it was, like an IHOP. And so we sat in a table. Well, I could kind of draw a picture. Let's see. Okay, let's see. But yeah, this part was fun, man. I just sat there and like pigged out, and I couldn't believe I wasn't reacting and blah, blah, blah. But the consumer's grocery store, basically, I mean, it's a pretty big store. But basically, the consumer's grocery store, way back over here, was like where the black man was, and he was kind of light to medium toned, and yeah, we were just like talking to him and conversing, and he's like, yeah, I've been working here 13 years. But anyway, so this was a consumer's grocery store, and then the second scene was we jumped to an IHOP. And And we were sitting over here at a table. This is where we were sitting. And then over here was like the bathroom area. And so for at least 2 or 3 hours we were sitting here eating, and it was all very, very, very vivid. And at first, like, I was eating like a little salad. It was almost kind of like a buffet or something. They were bringing us all these buffet items, and I started to eat a salad, and there's a couple other things I ate too. Salad, and it seemed like I ate some noodles, and then my mom, she started eating all. I mean, I sat there and ate at least 4 to 5 courses, and I particularly like remember the salad, and it was like so good. And then over here, I was sitting like over here, and then my sister over here, and then my mom over here, and she started eating 4 or 5 courses, and then she's like, oh well, I got to get up and go to the bathroom. And then I noticed on her plate, I noticed in her area, there was these like 7 smallish 4-inch by 4-inch pancakes, like 7 or 8 of them stacked high. And there was a plate, for whatever reason, there was a plate sitting over the top of the pancakes, the stack of pancakes. And I was like, okay, Mom, you've already eaten, 4 to 5 items, but I was wanting her to eat the pancakes as well. Because in real life, I was like, she's getting real skinny. And I was trying to, like, me and my dad and everything, we were trying to get her to gain weight in real life and everything. So in the experience, it's like I was trying to like do the same, and I was hoping she was going to eat those pancakes, but she already had eaten really well, like 4 to 5 other items, and I was eating the salad, and I ate at least 2 to 3 other things, but now some of the details already escaped me. But anyway, one of the other details was kind of funny. But anyway, I'll tell you the other part in a minute. This was all very, very, very vivid, and So then my sister, she started eating a couple courses, and she kind of put a couple courses, she took a couple courses like off of this, it almost was like the consistency, like the texture of like feta cheese. No, I don't mean feta cheese. I mean brie, like brie or brie cheese. It was really like soft and kind of wet, and it was shaped kind of like I don't know how to make a T-bone steak, but it was shaped kind of like a T-bone steak, and it was like sitting there. After my sister pulled off a couple of the courses, I noticed it sitting there, and it had like pastel colors in it, and I don't know what the hell it was. It had pastel colors in it, and I was like, Chrissy, aren't you going to eat that? Because it looked really good. It was some kind of dessert. That's what Joe was trying to make it, some kind of dessert. And it, like I say, the table was over here. It was over here. But it was like, 6 inches long, 3.5 or, 4 inches, 6 inches long and 4 inches wide. And it was just kind of shaped like a T-bone steak. And it was about 1 inch high. And like I say, it was almost like the texture of like brie cheese, kind of wettish and soft. And it looked really, really, really good. And it was sitting over here on the plate when my sister took away a couple courses. And like I say, it had some pastel colors in it, bright colors. I mean, delicate pastel colors, like pinkish and bluish and stuff. And it was some kind of dessert. And I asked my sister, I was like, aren't you going to eat that? And she's like, oh, I already tasted it, but it was gross. And I never did taste it. But after my mom said she had to go to the bathroom, and after I saw the slapjacks sitting there, the pancakes were about that size. And there was, 7 or 8 of them. And then she had a plate. For whatever reason, there was a plate sitting over. There was a plate upside down sitting over the top of the stack of pancakes. And I noticed that was the only thing she hadn't eaten yet. So I was hoping after she went to the bathroom that she was going to come back and eat the pancakes. So finally she walks over into the bathroom because she said she had to go to the bathroom, but she didn't. What she did was she went in there and she trimmed her hair. And so when she came out of the bathroom, I was just like, wow. Her hair was like, 4 or 5 inches shorter in the back, but it still wasn't super duper short. But she whacked it off by like 4 or 5 inches. And also in the scenario, it did not look like my mom 100%. It looked like her, like, 20 years ago, but like, it only looked like her like 70%. Like her face was different and everything, and her teeth was really different. It was really weird. Like her teeth looked kind of bad and everything. It was really weird. But the funny thing is, I actually remember what she had on. She had on this like, kind of like a, I don't know, like a sundress, like a long sundress type of thing. And it was kind of off-whitish, kind of whitish, but off-whitish, kind of cloth. And because normally I don't really remember what people have on in my scenarios, but for whatever reason, I guess Joe wanted me to remember that. So I had, she had like a sundress on, but it was kind of thin sundress and kind of cloth material, and it was completely long all the way down to her shoes. And like I say, her teeth were kind of weird looking, kind of crooked and everything. And she looked a little bit taller, like maybe 5'7". I think she used to be 5'7" in real life, but she shrunk a little bit. And but yeah, so that was kind of funny. And I was just thinking in my head, she didn't have to go to the bathroom. She went in there to whack her hair off. Because in real life, we were talking about that last night and a week ago. Last night when I went over there in real life, my dad said, I told my mom, I said I'd whack it off if you wanted me to. And my dad said, no, I'll take her somewhere to get it cut. And then we were talking about that, a couple weeks ago too, that she was going to get her hair cut and everything. But anyway, it was a fun experience, and I was hoping she was going to go back and eat the pancakes and everything. But damn it, I can't remember all the 4 or 5 courses that I ate. But it was salad, and it had a bunch of things in the salad too, like cheese. And then I know there was like some noodles, and about 3 or 4 other courses that I had eaten. And I was just thinking, I couldn't believe I was eating all this without reacting and stuff. But anyway, yeah, the brie was kind of brie or brie cheese. I mean, it looked nothing like what a real dessert would look like, but it was kind of fun experience. And there's some other ones I had, but this was a long time ago. But anyway, there's one. Well, I don't really have to talk about that one, I guess, but it was too long ago. But I mean, I remember it. But so, like, I was driving down the dead end road over by my mom's house, and my mom was she was following me and somehow asking me, like, why are you why are you driving down the dead end road? And I told her because I hadn't been down there in a long time, and I wanted to see who was living in the house, that Shirley Nunn used to live in. But anyway, it was the house beside her house. Like here's the street. And then Shirley Nunn's house was right there. And then it was this house that I noticed, like, an older man was standing there. And he came out. I forgot some of it already because this was a long time ago. But he came out, this man came out. And then that's when I noticed, oh, okay, a new man had moved in this house. But Shirley's house was right there. And then I noticed, the funny thing is, well, actually, it would be before you got to the street. The street would have been over here. And all of a sudden, I noticed, so here's the street right here. And then all of a sudden, I noticed this was all a little, water retention pond stream dilly bobber that didn't used to be there. And then I saw some redder sliders jumping in and everything. Oh, yeah, and then I also saw a turtle, walking up. I can't remember if it was more of a box turtle or a redder slider. I think it was a redder slider. I turned around, and I noticed all the turtles and the little water retention stream or whatever you call it. And in real life, there's not a stream there. And then I noticed a turtle that was walking up to him, and he was acting like that was his pet turtle. But anyway, it was just like when I went for that bike ride on the trail, when I looked over there, I don't remember that stream always being there, but there was a stream, a bunch of rocks, and there was a bunch of water in it. And that was a month ago when I went down the trails, and it was just like that in the scenario right here down the road. Here was the road, and then all of a sudden there's a stream of water and everything that, you know, was pretty long or whatever. But that was kind of funny. That was a fun experience. And but with this other experience, it was kind of fun though. It was bizarre though. And there's a couple more too, but well, I can remember anyway, but I typed it on the notes of the iPhone, and you can't do those two things at once. You can't have the video on plus go flip-flop back to the notes. But anyway, okay, there's one experience I had, and it was fun. This was a long time ago too, but I totally remember it. But it's pretty significant because there was an alien. There was a little bitty alien in this scenario. But anyway, so okay, so here's Barnes and Noble. It was another Barnes and Noble's experience, and I have experiences all the time in Barnes and Nobles. Okay, so here's the front of the store. Okay, so there's the front of the store, and then in the back of the store, this is all in the scenario. It was laid out exactly in real life, except the cafe was over here in real life, but the cafe in this scenario was in the back. And here's the workers right here. Here's all the workers, and here's all the counter and everything, and the workers behind the counter. And I was standing here, and there's several other people standing around too. As far as I remember, I actually, it seemed like my sister was in the scenario. I can't remember if my mom was in it right off bat, because I didn't write all the details down. Okay, so, but I did write a few details down. So, yeah, as far as I remember, my sister was in it. I can't remember if my mom was in it or not. But anyway, so there's other people standing around too, and this was a long experience too. And so, and this was all very vivid, and I actually ate. Now, the funny thing is, you know, I was eating all that food this morning, but I can't remember if I was actually tasting all the food in the scenario, because normally I do actually taste it and everything. As far as I remember, I tasted it a little bit, the salad and stuff, but yeah, so that particular scenario, or this morning, yeah, I can't really remember if I vividly tasted it or not, because normally I do in my scenarios when I eat food and stuff. I remember tasting the salad a little bit, but I can't remember, you know, like the other courses. But anyway, in this scenario, it was all very, very vivid, and I tasted that nasty ass mocha and shit in the scenario, and it was gross. But anyway, so basically, okay, hold on, tell me that they did away. Okay, so I asked for like a mocha drink. So this is all in the scenario. So I went up to the counter, and here's all the workers, and here's all the espresso machines. I asked them to make me some mocha drink, some hot mocha drink, and I asked for a venti, and they said that, oh, we did away with our venti drinks, and so they only were making these drinks that were like 1/4 of a venti drink. And okay, hold on, they did away with the big drinks at the back. Yeah, so anyway, they actually did away with the big, tall, venti drinks. And they said, yeah, they said, we just don't make them anymore. We only make smaller versions. And they were like literally 1/4 of a venti drink. So she gives me this mocha drink, and it was all watered down, and it tasted gross. It tasted like old coffee that had been sitting there, poured into a little bit of milk. And it was lukewarm, and I tasted it, and it just tasted like burnt and old and stale. And I totally vividly tasted it, and it was so disgusting. And like I say, and I was just thinking in my head, wow, you're still charging like $6 or $7 for these drinks, but yet you're giving us like 3 ounces, you know? I knew that was screwed up, you know what I mean? So it was really funny, and it was all very vivid, and it was fun, and it lasted many hours. But anyway, so here's the funny and significant part. So over here on the counter, I saw about a 7-inch tall little alien that was sitting on the counter, and it was kind of like off-whitish, a little alien that was just sitting on the counter right there. Wait, how do you make an alien? Let's see. And it just seemed kind of like semi-alive, like. It was semi-alive, and it was just kind of sitting there like a 7-inch tall alien on the counter, like right at this corner. And here's all the espresso machines, and here was the workers, and here was all of us, me and my sister and a few other people. And when I cocked my head over there and looked at the little off-whitish 7-inch tall alien sitting there, I was like, yep, I told you. I was kind of like telling the people, I told you the aliens are giving me all these experiences. And, you know, because in this experience, you know, I knew that I was in an altered state of consciousness and everything. And I was just kind of like reiterating, when I looked at the little alien, I just kind of blurted out. And I can't remember if they heard me or not, but I blurted out. I was like, yep, I told you the aliens are giving me all these experiences. But mainly Joel is giving me all these experiences. He just placed a little alien in there. But that was a fun experience. Oh, but there's another, well, this one, it was still, well, actually, this one was kind of a short one, but it was just kind of funny, too. I was down there, this was all under the scenario. Oh, that was on December 16th. I was down there at the park, at Seguiota Park. Oh, actually, I was at a certain corner of the park. Like, here's the, okay, here's the park. Okay, and here's the road. Park. Okay, here's the road. And I was, I was across the street. I was right here. Here's the park, and here's the road. And this is where I was standing. But anyway, I was basically at the park area, and it was just too busy. There's so many people walking around. So I wanted to go to a more seclusive, quieter place, so to speak. And so this part was funny. Yeah, so anyway, basically, I was at the park, basically, but I was across the street. I was standing here, and because there's too many people walking around and stuff, and Joe got that idea because ever since 2010, there's a shitload of people that go to this park. Prior to 2010, there wasn't hardly anybody that ever went to this park. Yeah, as far as, I mean, I know I was away for 3 more years, 2006 to 2010, but I'm pretty sure not even during that time, there wasn't a lot of people that went to the park from 2006. Even though I moved back here in 2010, 2006 to 2010 or whatever, there wasn't a lot of people that went to this park. It all started in 2010 when they did, I guess, some renovations and shit. But anyway, so there was all these people, too many people at the park. So I was like, man, I'm going to go to a more seclusive place. And then all of a sudden, so I look over here and there's all these woods, which in real life, there are some woods over there, but now there's kind of some businesses and stuff. And anyway, so all of a sudden, like, there was all these woods, and there was an undiscovered huge river just right across the street, like near the woods. There was this huge river right here. Aliens are always doing this, and it's such a freaking blast. These experiences are such a blast because it feels like a different dimension. I mean, it feels nothing like fucked up 3D. 3D feels so fucking gross and fake and just fucking nasty. And it's just so sad because you can't ever, what do you call it? You can't ever, well, anyway, I'll talk about it in a minute. But anyway, so there was this undiscovered river, and then and then I saw the river in the woods, and I was like, all right, I get this whole river to my freaking self, man. Like, nobody even knew it was there. It was such a blast. And but these man, and like I say, it's just like crop circles. All crop circles have different energies in them, just like a lot of my scenarios. Sometimes some of the energy is just like I mean, unworldly. The dimension, it feels like pure fucking bliss. And then some of the other ones don't have such a strong energy like that, if you know what I'm saying. But most of my experiences, they totally feel like a different dimension, and such a blast. Like the experience of like this morning, totally felt like a different dimension and everything, but not quite as strong as some of them that I had that just fucking amazing. Like ones that I've had years and years and years and years and years and years and years ago. And like the Barnes and Noble's one, that one was just kind of more delicate, different dimensional energy, but it didn't feel like 3D, but it it didn't have real strong like feeling of pure bliss or anything. But you know what I'm saying, they all have different energies. But anyway, so but yeah, it's like this dimension is just like so fucked up, and this town is so fucked up. I mean, I guess I don't know if it's because it's the Bible Belt or what. Because like the gay people walking around this town, it's like they give off like really like oppressed. They give off this really fucking oppressed. Yeah, I'll write it down. I don't know how to spell it, but oppressed. Fucking oppressed. I mean, it's just sad because, deep down people could be, I don't know, they could just not be oppressed and, what's that word? Oppressed and, fuck. Not depressed, oppressed and suppressed. No. Repressed, I mean. Yeah, they, like the gay people walking, I mean, I don't think straight people are walking around like that. It's just gay people. Ever since I've lived in this town, people just walking around like they're so oppressed, and I don't know if that's the right word. I'll look it up. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's just sad because I mean they could be, fucking and sucking. You know what I mean? Like they could be having so much more potential. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I get laid so much in my other realities, so I don't care. But anyway, so. Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, oppressed, that's one of them. But yeah, I mean, it's legal now. I mean, you'd think people wouldn't be like I don't know, like walking around like that. You know what I mean? So oppressed and repressed. Okay, hold on. Oppressed. Subject to harsh and authoritarian treatment, liberation. But what's that other word? Repressed. I don't know if that's the right word though. And it's because of the Bible Belt, man. Because I've been to Tacoma, Washington, which is not the Bible Belt, I don't think. I've been to Minnesota, and the gay people are not like that. I mean, I'd be, I'd be with somebody like a different person every week if I lived in those states. But I have no desire to move there. Repress. Yeah, exactly. It's called repress. They're repressed and fucking oppressed. They've been like that ever since I've lived here. And they do not act that way in Minnesota or Washington. I was in Washington over 30 years ago, and they weren't even acting like that over 30 fucking years ago. And today, they still act that way. Like they're oppressed and repressed. I don't know if the gay guys act that way. I assume they probably do. But I mean, like they're nobody I would want to date anyway. Date anybody. They're all a bunch of dykes. You know what I'm saying? But still, it's really different in other parts of the country. And but anyway, yeah. So why did I get off on that? Or fuck, I can't remember. But shit, I can't remember. Why was I talking about that? Can't remember. Yeah, it's time for me to eat. Okay, so what else was I talking about? Yeah, wait. Okay, there's a couple more scenarios. Let me see if I can memorize them. Because I put them in the notes. I typed everything in the notes, but I think because I can't flip-flop back or I'm going to lose the video. Oh, shit, I got something in my eye. Oh, my God. But yeah, I can't, why was I start talking about that? Fuck, I can't remember. But no, okay, so my point is, this is just a lamest fucking town to be in. If you're fucking black, whatever, you know? But yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, but just in general, I'm just not talking about fags or whatever, and dykes or whatever, but I mean, this reality, I mean, in 3D reality, you could be having so much more, like, people could be having so much more, like, potential if they got the corn cob out of their ass, if you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, okay, so I had 2 other experiences, but like I said, I wanted to go back and read them, but I think I remember them anyway. But okay, hold on, let me think. Because I can't flip-flop back on the notes, and I should have typed it on the computer and not in these notes in the iPhone. But anyway, and I know where Joe got this black woman from, because this revenue officer, she was really short too, like about 5'4". She came into the place where I work, and she was short and black, and I know Joel was trying to copy off of her. Okay, so in this scenario, this was just a few days ago, but it was a really blast and everything. It was fun. But anyway, so in this scenario, me and her, oh man, and this lasted a long time. Me and her went to this bar. So basically it was a gay bar. And it was kind of like I was gonna date her or thinking about dating her, or vice versa, or both. And so we went to this bar, and it was a gay bar, and I do remember the music playing and everything. Yeah, I do remember that. I remember a lot of music playing. And, but we were in that bar for hours and hours and hours and hours. Okay, so finally, wait, hold on, well, I guess I kind of draw it somewhat. And this was all very fun experience, a really long experience. But anyway, so, okay, so anyway. Okay, press. Wait, hold on, let me think. Yeah, okay, so basically we were at this bar, and this is just a big old neighborhood. So we were at this bar, and like I say, we were in here for hours and hours and hours, and music was playing for hours and hours and hours. And then all of a sudden we left the bar. We started walking outside to a mall. We went to a mall after the bar. And this is all outdoors here. Okay, so when we walked out of the bar, as far as I remember, she was on my left, and I was on the right, and we started walking this direction, and I was like, why is it daylight out? It's so daylight. And I said, I thought bars closed at like 1:30 a.m., to 2 a.m. And she's like, well, she's like, well, the bar that we just went to closed at 6 a.m., which made sense because it was about 6:10 a.m. when we, like when we walked out of the bar, it was about 6:10 a.m. Because I couldn't believe it was daylight. We had been in there like for fucking, 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. And so we started walking, and I couldn't believe it was daylight already. And she's like, well, the bar that we went to closed at 6 a.m., which made sense because, like I say, I somehow knew that it was, I can't remember if I looked down at my watch, but I knew it was about 6:10. I knew it was about 10 minutes after 6. So then we go into a mall, and, okay, hold on. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. Damn it. But anyway, so we walk into this mall, and we're still walking down this mall, this direction, and she's still on my left, and I'm on the right. And the funny thing is, like I know exactly that that's what Joel was trying to copy off of, that woman. Because in the scenario, this woman is like 5'4" or 5'5". I think she's more like 5'4". And yeah, I mean, I would say she may be even a little shorter than 5'5". And she had these like she had like a blouse on, and like these, it was a light colored blouse, and her pants was kind of very, very light colored, like beigeish. And they weren't bell bottoms, but they kind of flared out like they were semi bell bottoms at the bottom. But anyway, so we were walking down the mall, and first of all, there was a guy standing over here, and later on there's a white guy, but there's a black guy standing over here, and he was acting like he was like talking to me, and acting like she was some butchy dykey woman. And I was like, no, she's not. She's not even dressed like that. She's got like a blouse on. And I looked down at her little bell-bottom style pants that she had on. But it's like he was like making fun of her. And the funny thing is, I never actually saw her face really, really clear, but I knew exactly that Joel was trying to copy off of that woman that I just saw at work, that employee that came into work a couple weeks ago. He placed her in the scenario. Okay, and then all of a sudden, there's this white guy standing over here, and we're like walking down the mall. This white guy said, like, was harassing her and saying the same thing, like she looked butchy and blah 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 blah. And I was just kind of like whatever. But she wasn't butchy at all, and she was, I mean, for a black woman, she was feminine. You know what I mean? Okay, so anyway. So then she starts walking, and I kind of get separated from her. She starts walking. I for whatever reason, I get separated from her, but she was going to meet me back eventually. She's going to meet up with me like back, like where we started. And so I kind of walk over here, and there's like a table. And there's like all of these, like there's little bags of like chocolate chips that these two women were selling behind the counter. And I started tasting some of the chocolate chips, and I was like, wow, they taste so good. And I literally tasted the chocolate and everything. But I was just recently smelling bags of chocolate chips, and I actually could smell the chocolate through the bags. I was recently doing that before this experience in real life at the natural grocery store. And I finally did eat some chocolate, and I don't think I have a problem with it or anything. So that's good. Man, it tasted so good because I haven't eaten chocolate in 3 years. And I ate the Emmy's chocolate chip cookies, which, well, they're not like cookies. They're kind of different than cookies. But those Emmy's chocolate chip cookies, they actually taste, I was shocked the way they taste because they actually taste different. I mean, I was expecting them to taste more like coconut and not chocolate chips. But it tasted more like chocolate. You couldn't even hardly taste the coconut. And it tasted just like those Russell Stover's dark chocolate coconut candy that I used to buy. Except prior to 2013, I couldn't taste the chemicals, not in that chocolate anyway. But 2013, I actually bought a couple boxes, and I could taste the chemicals. And I gave them to my coworkers. That's kind of like when you're brain dead and in a trance, you don't taste chemicals. Once you wake up out of your trance, you start to taste chemicals and shit in the food. Because I'm sure the chemicals were always there, even back in Kansas City. Well, that's basically when I used to buy them a lot back in Kansas City, and before I even moved to Kansas City. And then, of course, many years went by, and then I bought some in 2013, and I could taste the chemicals. But the Emmy's cookies are all pure and paleo. There's no chemicals in the Emmy's cookies, but I was shocked that they taste more like chocolate than anything. I mean, they are delicious. And now I'm trying to find a bag of chocolate chips to eat. Because they're kind of all fucked up. Oh yeah, we make them on the same lines as fucking rice. And it's all fucked up. Or they'll say that it's gluten-free. And then it'll fucking say in another area, may contain traces that fucking XO chocolate. Oh yeah, it doesn't say certified gluten-free or anything like that, but it says gluten-free. See, that's a dumbass company that does not know the rules. Because if they're putting gluten-free on there, it still needs to be 20 parts per million or below. But then they're sitting there saying may contain traces of wheat and shit. They're just, all these companies are fucked up. So I'm going to get another opinion of that Enjoy Life. And then I got to contact Nestle's. And then I can eat some of the chocolate chips. I mean, I could try to find a decent bag of chocolate chips to eat, but if not, I could be happy eating the Emmy's cookies because they're certified gluten-free, which is less than 10 parts per million. But chances are there's probably 0 parts per million in it. And then I could eat those, I could try the chocolate coconut crisps at Aldi's, but I already know I'm not going to like them as much as that Emmy's cookies, man. And Emmy's makes another cookie, too, that's like all chocolate. I'm going to try those, too. But, if I start buying... See, if I start buying some cocos, I'm probably going to have to get my own technology and test the shit myself. That will test it. There's some of it you could buy that tests down to 5 parts per million. The technology in America can only go down to 5 parts per million. But in other countries, it goes down to 0 parts per million because you can't even fucking label the food as gluten-free unless it's 0 parts per million. America's fucked up the ass. But anyway, yeah, so anyway, it was fun. It was a fun experience. But then there was this other experience. I hope I said everything about... I think I did. But, okay, there's this other experience that was like a total blast, too. And it was just all... I mean, it was just cool. It's like I was having a slumber party with a step aunt. And she looked very familiar to me in the scenario. I was having a slumber party, basically. And I was spending... I mean, not slumber party, but I was spending the night there for several days with one of my step aunts. And I discovered, at first I thought she was married and stuff, and then I discovered that she was divorced. So she was living in that house, you know, alone basically with her 3 sons. She had 3 sons living there. And at one point I started to look at the walls and stuff, and I noticed the wood was getting kind of old and shabby because I knew that, you know, she probably didn't know how to do that kind of work and stuff. I knew she probably didn't know how to renovate stuff and all that. But anyway, so it was such a fun experience. I mean, I stayed in her house, I mean, for days and days and days and days. And me and one of the cousins, one of my step cousins or whatever, over near the kitchen, we made a pallet on the floor. Yeah, it wasn't a mattress, but we made like a pallet, kind of thick, and that's where we slept, on the floor, like near the kitchen. And that's where I slept for many, many, many days. And even in the scenario, I actually like lay down and I fell asleep, and then I'd wake back up and blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was such a blast of an experience. It was weird. And anyway, so when it was time for bed, I slept by one of my cousins, and I was sitting there sleeping. So I slept like for hours and hours, and then I'd wake up and I noticed I was laying in a different position. And then another time, you know, I'd fall back to sleep, or another night I'd fall back to sleep, and then I'd be laying this way in the bed. And then another time I'd be laying that way, and it was just weird, but it was such a blast. And anyway, it was just kind of like fun and everything. And she looked very familiar to me. Joel was copying off somebody that I've seen. But anyway, in the scenario, it was kind of like she was my step aunt. But it was fun. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just doing boring shit in these scenarios, but it's like such a freaking blast. But anyway, well, that's all this. Well, I still have some other stories from years ago I need to tell, but I could do that later. Thanks for listening. It's dinner time. But yeah, try those Emmys. I assume the chocolate ones the dark cocoa ones are probably going to be really, really good too. But I mean, the chocolate chip ones, I have one left. There's only 9 cookies. They're 110 calories a piece. But still, that shit's not gonna make you gain weight because it's all natural stuff. But anyway, I was just shocked that they taste more like chocolate. Than anything. So that was kind of strange. But try the dark cocoa and the chocolate chip Emmy's cookies. I haven't tried the dark cocoa yet, but I'm going to. Thanks for listening. Whoops, I forgot about the other important part. Before I went to my aunt's house, I was riding my bike there. Basically, I forgot about the first part. So I was riding my bike to my step-aunt's house, and I already talked about having the big slumber party and staying there for many, many, many days. But basically, I was riding my bike, and I looked over to my left, and there was a crow that came down that was just a couple feet away from me, and just kind of flopping there in the air, in midair, stationary. And I was like, that's got to be one of my crows. And I know why Joe put the crow in there, because I had it on my brain that I don't recall him ever putting crows in my scenarios. He puts lots of other animals, so that's why he put the crow in the scenario. And so it was like I was riding my bike. Apparently, I was riding it to my aunt's house, and then it just seemed like something interrupted me, so I stopped, and that's when the crow was just fluttering right there, a couple feet away from, just a few inches above my, the height of my bike or whatever. It was really cool. So yeah, so he put a crow in my scenario. So that was really cool, because I don't think he's ever put a crow in my scenario. In my scenarios, I would remember that. So I had that on the brain, like, why don't you put crows in my scenario? So he finally put a crow in my scenario. And then, so after the bike ride and everything, that's when I ended up in my step-aunt's house with my 3 cousins. And I guess he got that from, because I had an aunt in real life that had 3 sons, which are my cousins in real life, and they're in Kansas City. So he was just trying to copy off of that, but it was a really fun experience. Well, thanks for listening.